say we are weak, but we are. Most of us, our head is not correct.
Hey! She will shout like, Temi talk where? She will shout. I'll say, Mommy, what happened? Because sometimes when she yells, you'll be somewhere very far. She will shout. Definitely, she has to shout for you to hear. Then you will not tell her that,
I'm here. Why?
Mommy, is that why you shouted my name?
Yeah.
Just for. Then she will not tell you that you are telling me that I'm shouting. Then she will take it to. So it means I'm making noise.
Because when we're growing up, you hear things like, are you crying? What's making you cry? This small thing. That's why you're crying. And the child is actually really pained.
You want to be hiding behind them mental illness and
so
zodiac sign because you don't want to function.
Oh, for the past 1 week I've been depressed. That's why.
Especially group work.
That's why
group
I'm
work.
able to turn in my work. Are you mad? It's group work. Is it the time to be depressed?
You know that time when I was small, if I don't want to go to school, I would tell my mom
claim your belly is paying you.
Everybody did it. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Deep Talks, Thinkable Thoughts. I'm Aduni, and co-hosting with me is my very own Valerie. And today we'll be talking about, are we the weakest generation? Valerie, are we the weakest generation?
I don't know, it depends. What generation are you talking about? Because my generation is different from your generation.
Hey, wala. Are we the weakest generation? Period. Because now we are packed all of us together.
It's not period. Nobody packed anybody together. I am a millennial and you are what? Gen Z. Okay. Right? So which generation are you combining both generations?
I don't identify as a person that likes to conform to boxes or tags. So I'm going to, just slightly take myself out of what it is that she said. Go on.
Anyways, if you're talking about what today is gong, I think we have some problems. We are not, I wouldn't say we are weak, but we are, most of us, our head is not correct.
Hey!
Not that I am saying most of us, because I did not remove myself from the equation.
Okay, right? No problem.
So, is it weak? Is weak the word? I don't know. Maybe in some context, yes, well, the weakest generation, but I feel tagging it weak is just a host of other things.
Weakness in what sense? Because if you want to say that, are we the weakest generation? What are the guides or the things that we're looking at to say that, okay, we are the weakest generation? For example, first of all, what weakness is very relative.
Yes.
The definition of a lot of things is relative to the type of person that you are and the situation or whatever your life is in. Do you understand? But now, the type of things that we're looking at us at this generation week, I feel like it's something that is in comparison to the older generation. Because why is it that are we the weakest generation? Why is it coming up to begin with?
If we're doing like a comparative analysis, yes, I think we're weaker than the previous generation. Because
why?
For instance, most of the things that the older generation will take, we would not take it. Our generation will not take it.
And why is that considered weakness? I feel like that's a problem already.
Yes. Like I said in the beginning, this generation has a problem. Yeah? So I would not categorically say that we are weak. Maybe, you know how they say, Nigerians will say lazy youths, right? So that can also be a context to saying weakest generation. Also, how strong are we? Like, how resilient are we?
Are we talking about mental strength, physical strength? What are we talking about? Are we just talking about like the totality of our being?
I think it should be the totality of.
I don't agree that we are weak or we are the weakest generation because, first of all, the generations that are behind will always view us. Even when we get to the level that we will get to, we will still view the generations in front as that they are weak. Because when we want to compare things are changing and things will not be the same. And the way that things have operated in the past shouldn't actually be the way it will operate in the future. And it is fine that we can say that the millennials and the boomers will believe that this Gen Z or people of nowadays are weak. Because the things that they are calling weakness, low-key, I feel like it is hardship and over strong-headedness that we can do it. And because this generation now, this generation is very expressive. And the older generation, they are repressed. And they believe that, okay, because
everything should be taken easy.
Calm. Do you think that
Not
is calm?
fight, not kill yourself.
Not kill
Respect
yourself.
people.
You think yes, respect people
Yeah,
is
the older generation is like that.
So you believe that the older generation are more respectable, like compared to
Yes, in the aspect of respect, Aduni, we don't get respect.
No, why did you say we not get respect? Don't you feel like wait? Since we have already picked it from this angle, now let's take it.
Let's
You
talk about
feel-
respect, yeah?
If we pick this, since we believe that they are more respectable, it's part of the things that we are considering as our own weakness, right? We not get respect. Don't you feel like
Should
some
we
of
call
the
it
things
weakness per se?
okay, our own shortcoming. So are we saying that because these people now what they tag as respect? For instance, now I can see you and say hi to you or hello, but people from the generation behind, some of them will believe that you need to bow a little bit. Some of them believe that you shouldn't say certain things to them.
Yeah.
Because I used to remember that time if I tell my mom that maybe she's calling me and she will shout like Temi talk where she will shout. I'll say, Mommy, what happened? Because sometimes when she yells, you'll be somewhere very far. She will shout. Definitely, she has to
You
shout.
can't be close.
Then you will not tell her that,
I'm here. Why?
Mommy, is that why you shouted my name?
Yeah.
Just for then she will not tell you that you are telling me that I'm shouting. Then she will take it to it means I'm making noise. Some of the things they are not disrespect. They are just words, and the older generation are not comfortable with certain words being used to them because they tag it as it is disrespectful to me.
Well, for me, in the context of respect, I'm not even talking about this. I'm talking about how, you know how in the previous generation, when I don't know if you can relate, but let's say 3 or 4 people are having an argument, or 3 or 4 people are having a conversation,
Yeah.
and then somebody's talking, and everybody just listens. I have seen it with the older generation. Somebody just listens. Have you noticed that everybody's opinion in this generation wants to be heard to the extent that you don't even know that you're oppressing the other person's view or the other person's opinion? Everybody's talking. Everybody thinks that they have a say. So what you have done is probably, I'm just giving an example, disrespect or just somehow oppressed somebody's view or something, or somebody's opinion, something as little as, I used to tell my students when I go to class that everybody's opinion is valid in this class. You know why I tell them that? Because they don't let anybody talk about anything that they are not in agreement with. That is something that I know that this generation has a lot.
I think that would be like lacking in like knowing how to properly communicate.
Yes. So in this aspect, I can tell you for a fact that this generation, like you said, is not weakness, but it's shortcoming.
But even sometimes here we talk over each other, and it's not even
we talk over each other.
Disrespectful.
And you know that you said let's do like a comparison between this generation and the previous generation.
Yes.
Most of these things we're talking about are things that you rarely find with the older generation. You would see it, but you see it in like maybe a macro level or a mini level of it. But for us, you know that our generation were very outspoken.
Yes, and that's already a problem to
Like
the
that's
older generation.
yes, that's already a problem to the older generation. So once you are outspoken, it is tagged as you don't get respect. Do you understand?
True.
Your opinion, if you have a strong opinion about something that the older
bold.
generation doesn't see your idea, they'll be like, now so that they talk now, they not get respect because they think that this respect has shifted from, and I get it, I understand it, because in some cases when children or when younger generation talk these days, you are like, really, just let that person talk. Just
But can we also say that children are children, and children are meant to be stupid sometimes?
So are you a child, for example?
I am not a child, but it doesn't negate the fact that I can be stupid sometimes.
Yeah, when we're talking about this, don't say children in contrast to the older generation, because it feels like there's a lot of gap.
Okay, I take that back.
You understand? Yeah. So let's just say this generation and that generation.
Okay, this generation.
And you can also see that there are some certain things, like you said before when we started, that there are some things that the older generation took that this generation cannot take. We might not perceive it as disrespect, but they have just labeled all of us in this generation as we don't get respect.
But that we not get respect. It's still, how will I put it? Most of the times when we put it in reality check, it's not a matter of disrespect. Sometimes the older generation just believe that I should be spoken to in a certain way. And you know the funny thing about it is the fact that they don't also feel like you as the like newer generation should also be spoken to. It's like you want respect, but you also want to be the one to not to be able to disrespect and respect in whatever way that you want to.
I also feel that this thing is kind of culturally embedded.
True.
Respect your elders.
Yes, but I believe that
Everybody who's older should shush the person who's younger.
Yes, and that's a problem right there. Everybody should be respected. Respected. It should be
Reciprocal. Though. Me, I'm an advocate for respect yourself, and I respect you. To be honest, because when people say, "Oh, you think because you are this, that is why you don't have respect," I come to you the way you came to me. Do you understand?
okay.
And that's how most of the people in this generation reason respect. But in those days, when somebody's telling you something, they just shut up. You don't need to argue. You don't need to air your opinion. Just keep quiet. Why do you think that
That's why I said that
when our
there
parents
was
are scolding
repression.
us, yeah, when our parents are scolding us, and then they are saying something that, God forbid, is not true.
Mm-hmm.
We know in our heart of hearts that it's not true, but God forbid will you tell them that what you are saying is a lie. Can you look at your mom in the face or your dad in the face and say, you're lying against me?
Hey,
Especially when
died.
they're telling their siblings and they're twisting the story in a certain way that things happened that did not even happen. So it was like, oh, you're talking back at me. I'm talking, you are talking. Do you understand? Well, I don't even us in this generation that are having children, I have noticed that a lot of us would rather just sit down and probably listen to what their child is saying. You know how?
Because it's good. But and some of those things are what are considered weakness. For instance,
weakness,
people having children now, where we've gotten to the level where there is less there are less children that or young individuals that get beaten or spanked. More of people that are being talked to. I'm also of the belief, I don't know, maybe because I've not born, but I believe that when you constantly speak to a person, they will at a point be able to understand. And for children, you have to actually constantly keep telling them because they actually don't know anything and they are just in their explorative mind, want to try everything. But let's even now drag it back because we say that are we weak in this generation? Another thing that I feel makes this weakness even be in the air to begin with is the fact that the people of nowadays or this generation are very not just expressive, but they say how they feel when they feel it.
Your match line will tell you say your match
line.
And
they are able, I feel like there's so much self-awareness now. There's so much self-awareness now that it is also considered as we are weak. And the self-awareness can be that right now am feeling very anxious just sitting in front of this camera. And somebody of the older generation would tell me or would feel like, you know that you're sitting in front of a camera, you're supposed to be prim and proper. You should have it all together.
Yes.
And I'm saying right now I do feel nervous. But because I do feel nervous, I'm feeling anxious. I'm not saying that I'm not doing this right now. I'm just telling you that this is how I feel.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the older generation, it was very hard for them to express their feelings because some of these feelings were considered weaknesses. Because you saying that right now I don't feel like I'm okay. Right now I don't even understand the way that I feel. There are things that people of this older generation consider weakness. And the fact that mental illness now is not a thing, that's why you'll be hearing that they'll be saying that they have this problem. I feel like it's normal because we too, I feel like we would also probably have these traits, especially if we're not open-minded to growth and evolvement of things. Do you understand? A lot of people, like this older generation, this is part of the things that they used to tag us as like the weak generation. And I feel like it should be looked into. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Because when we see these things, me telling you right now, Valeria, I feel nervous staying in front of this camera. Should not be you seeing me as a person that is weak or incapable.
Yeah, because when we're growing up, you hear things like, are you crying? What's making you cry? This small thing, that's why you're crying. And the child is actually really pained. Or you hear a father or a mother telling their boy child, don't cry now. Boys don't cry.
Because they were never even... Do you know the funny thing is the people that are bringing this weakness, because this is in comparison to the older generation, I don't think they even understood. They didn't. I don't think they understood emotional regulation. Because I feel like they just, let's cover it up. We're just going to go. We're just going to do it. Or we're not just going to think about this feeling right now.
And that's why our generation was also beaten by the other generation very excessively.
How?
Like...
Physically?
Physically and mentally. There are times where you know that there's this particular issue that you want to discuss with your parents, but you just can't. Because number one, they have already created an environment that you have to be okay. Like they think
you cannot complain.
You have to be okay. You cannot complain. So you see that closure where you would have had with a parent. In yourself, you fight the idea of should I go and tell them? Should I not go
Should
and
I
tell
not
them?
tell them?
Yeah, because they also just assume too that
You should be
something
okay.
is wrong with you. You are eating. I'm
You're
providing you
sleeping,
with
you
your
have house,
needs. You have house. You
You're
have
going to
shelter.
school.
You're going
You're
to
watching
school.
TV.
So what problems could you have other than reading your books and passing your exam? But it was way more than that. So I also feel like how we behave now in this generation is a response to trauma.
Yes,
It's a response to trauma. Because do you know that I haven't given birth, but I know to a certain extent how important it is for you to be close to your child, so that your child can, something as little as you need pencil but you did not say it on time. I would rather just go to school
There
and
was
suffer.
a lot of fear.
I'd rather just go to school
Because
and
they
suffer
just
before
believe you
before
should
I
have
open
talked
my
to
mouth
them.
and say, "Mommy, I drop off." But although you know that they will beat you, why did you not say it
Yes,
since?
because-
But then again, would you prefer that your child goes to school and just suffer in the hands of the teachers for not bringing a pen or for not bringing a particular book than you just providing it, even if it was late at the time? But also, this would have, I think that our parents also tried to make us strong.
Sure.
Yes, maybe they also, I'm guessing that they also tried to instill what they also didn't have.
Yes.
But they didn't do
Also
it the
what they were
right
taught.
way. So now, most of us just automatically respond to some certain traumas. Like me, I would have a pressing issue. I'd be like, but solve this problem by yourself before you start to judge case. Because who do you want to tell? Anybody who you tell will be like, so really, that's what is bothering you. So
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. Are you so yes, older generation will call us the weakest generation, but it's not us being weak. It's also us being, we have been taught a certain way, and only, in fact, this certain way I'm talking about was your only option. And then we keep on living our life from what we know, from all we know. And that's like trauma response, in my opinion.
Okay, I feel that also because we're speaking from the older generation and like the impact of the things that they have done and how it has manifested in us in this newer generation.
Manifested greatly. I mean,
That-
very
but
greatly.
I feel like we should also call out this generation in the sense that, we've already been tagged as we are the weaker generation. We are not tough. The things that they can handle, we cannot
handle it. For
Blah, blah,
example,
blah. And
marriage.
We don't have our priorities right.
possible.
Yes, even marriage, we don't have our
Yes,
priorities right. But yes, a lot of young adults don't have their priorities right. People in this generation
we don't.
a whole lot of things that it's not even it's not healthy for them.
Yeah, even us talking here, we
Yes, we do. But like, I think that this generation, one of the things that would make us even appear as weaker is because a lot of us use certain things as a means to hide. Like
I
a
agree.
shield. Let me
Yes.
cover myself.
I agree.
For instance, now, we're already speaking about emotion and a little bit about mental illness and like the effect of trauma and everything and how it can affect and how some of these emotions are considered weak. But
yes.
some people use it as a tool to not even be not be accountable. Yes, not be accountable for their actions.
Zodiac sign.
Yes. You hear people saying that it's because of this, that's why I'm this.
I'm Pisces, so
Yes,
this is how I behave
I'm
naturally.
Taurus,
You
so
are
I'm
just
supposed to
human
just
and
be-
a big.
I'm Sagittarius, I'm supposed to be. And you will not see them, it even has gone as far as, it has gotten so far to the extent that you hear people, what are they doing? They are telling themselves that this is what they have. I have ADHD or my ADHD.
My OCD will not allow me to do this.
You really do not understand what OCD is, do you? Because OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. Do you know what obsessive and compulsion means? Something that you would literally be doing all the time and it will hinder your daily life events. But in the name of maybe wokeness, or we are in this generation and we have access to so much information, we believe that now we are the one that will even be diagnosing ourselves. No, we are diagnosing ourselves right now. My ADHD is actually coming in, and you hear terms like this, and you wonder why some of us are even why the generation is tagged as the weakest generation.
Some people say I have OCD. That's why I can't leave my house. It's certainly shut up.
You need to be accountable for yourself as an individual. Don't be hiding behind them mental illness and zodiac sign because you don't want to function. And some people actually do have mental illness, but I don't believe that you as a person should be the one to diagnose it yourself. A lot of people will say that I'm depressed. My depression is what is hindering me from this. Mind you, I am not saying that you cannot be depressed.
Yeah.
But depression is even different from like temporary sadness.
Oh yes, that's true. I never thought of
Depression
that
is
before.
different from temporary sadness. Depression is even different from sadness in itself. Depression is something that has to have occurred for a long period of time, and also something that is also stopping your normal daily activity. When I say your normal daily activity, it can be something like maybe your routine of going to school, or exercising, or reading, or even making food for yourself. It could manifest in different form. Do you understand? So some of these things, we will call this generation out on top of this bullshit, because it is bullshit. You cannot be saying my ADHD is this right now. Even people now, another thing I have realized on the internet and with people like around the world, people that are like of my age, they've even started diagnosing themselves with autism.
Yeah, autism that is diagnosis.
Yes, some people can have autism that they do not see since, but a lot of people, I'm saying, they hide behind certain things so that they will not be accountable, and they will not be able to, you will just be able to, this person is not okay, let this person just slide. It is because of this, it is because of that, let it just go.
And some people will casually do something horrible, and then they will say, well, no,
casually do something horrible.
When people want to perform evil, right? It's not like they thought about this evil, that like they just casually just throw evil anyhow. And then when they do, they'll say, well, that's how I am, like me for who I am. So top your mouth.
We are not liking you.
You are evil. And you cannot say, oh, Pisces are like that. We take what is ours. We know our worth. You are just a bad person. You are just
bad character. Yes,
your character is bad. Stop.
You don't have morals.
I need, just like you said, Aduni, we need to call this generation for the bullshit that.
Yes, you need to call it the way it is.
You cannot be casually throwing evil or casually doing bad things, or like there are people that will have problems with you, right? They'll cut you off.
But I feel
your brain did not say that both of you should have a conversation, or you people should have.
But
a conversation.
I'm guilty.
Or wait, no. This one is not so generic. Let me use my daily life as an example. Everybody's given a task.
Yes.
Group task, for example.
Yeah.
Then 2 out of 4 people didn't carry out their own task, and then they'll come out and say, "Oh, for the past 1 week I've been depressed. That's why."
Especially group work.
That's why
group
I'm not able to turn in my work. Are you mad? Is it group work? Is it the time to be depressed? No, I understand that people go through a lot, but you have commitments to other people.
Of course, and you should be.
Get your shit together as much as you can. Do you know?
And that makes you sound like the older generation.
No, I know.
Because stuff like this is what they consider as mean. We are going to be seen as weak.
There was a meme my student sent to me recently. How you have 8 o'clock class, and then you're just lying down there. You're wondering if the class is worth it. In my opinion. Because I'm the teacher. Do I have a choice? I would go. That's how you get up, and get your shit together.
True.
Stop hiding and stop giving excuses for bad character, for evil character. Stop giving excuses.
For not even wanting to be accountable.
Or
for laziness. Some people are actually lazy. Some people don't suffer from mental illness or whatsoever.
Lazy.
Go to your doctor, let yourself be diagnosed. Some people don't suffer from mental
psychiatrists.
illness.
You can visit psychiatrists. You can go to the hospital. You can get help.
Mental illness is very trendy now, you know.
Yeah, seek help. But some people will just casual, and this is an offense to people who are actually depressed.
Yes,
you are not being.
It's an offense to people who have OCD.
Yes,
it's an offense to people who have ADHD and every other term and autism
people
that you are using.
You are being
manipulative.
No, manipulative. Insensitive.
Insensitive and manipulative.
You're being insensitive. For you to just claim sickness when you don't get, that's insensitivity.
Yes, it's because you are trying to absorb yourself for a particular task or something that you're supposed to do. So you need something to hide behind now. You know that time when I was small, if I don't want to go to school, I would tell my
claim your belly is paining you. Everybody did it.
Hey, my mom say, stomach is paining. I'm not hold the stomach. Okay, I'm not
fighting.
It's paining me.
I used to do that to
like children do it. So it's.
I used to do a lot of my tummy's paying me to get out of watch plate. I swear you still watch that plate.
So I'm telling you that
shout out to my mom that always knew that I was lying or something, although she'll say, okay.
Can you see how that character has actually gotten with a lot of people into adulthood.
Yeah.
And they now look for ways. And now that ways, and they will depend on like
they'll depend on it for
they
the
will
very
look for
long time.
mental health problem. In fact, some of them, when they will even look for physical health problem, where it is not, some people just develop like hypochondriasis. They all believe that, yes, I'm already sick now.
What's that?
You know, people that feel that they suffer from a certain ailment, but medically when you check,
They are not.
They just believe that my knee is always paining me, or I
head.
have ulcer, or I cannot function like this because of
my this, because of my that. Meanwhile, people who actually have these things are doing they are pulling weights, they are doing things that they should do. So when you come out and use these things as an excuse or a yardstick for you to not be accountable, that's just casual wickedness.
Casual wickedness. Another thing is the fact that this generation now, compared to the older generation, they believe like it's cool to be able to fall and
so claim sickness is cool.
Aside even claim sickness, to fall for peer pressure, they believe like it's cool. It's the new cool, you understand?
Yes, it's true.
It's the new cool.
This generation, if they've not done what other people are doing, then they are not cool. So
yes.
they need to adapt, and they need to be pressurized into doing something that you shouldn't even be doing in the first place. Makes you cool. How does that sound in your head?
It doesn't sound.
Give examples.
It doesn't sound good. We have so many examples now. Trying to be what you are not, trying to reach the level that you are not in.
Oh yes, we've talked about
this in our previous videos. Even what's the name? What's another? There's this example that I want to give, and it's already skipped my mind. Like there's so many examples. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Or you know sabi smoke. You tell and say you go smoke, you go, so that you just you look very very cool.
You just die. I remember one time that I tried to. Mommy, you're going to watch this video, but I'm alive.
Your daughter.
I'm alive today.
She's a bad girl, mommy.
So you know how like this smoking that you talked about, not Igbo, mommy.
Hey. Should I talk?
It's ordinary cigar that I'm talking about. So I know, first of all, I'm not so strong, right, when it comes to like breathing and stuff like that. So I went to go and attempt it. I saw stars. I almost died because of peer pressure. Now someone else died because I'm trying to do what other people are doing. Oh my goodness, that phase of my life. God, thank you, Jesus. But that phase of my life, I would have died. You know why? Because of peer pressure.
Another thing I feel that I think for humans is we are like cats. We are very curious.
Yeah.
But inside curiosity, difference of you will die, you will not die.
That's why they say curiosity kills the cow.
Yes,
Cats.
but there's a difference. And I feel like the older generation, they tried, because the new set of moms and dads, like they are the cool moms, the cool dads, and I hope that we're also cool. But our parents then they'll just tell you, don't smoke. They'll not tell you that there's a possibility that you can't have this, and the fact that nicotine itself is even addictive.
Not all parents do.
Not because parents don't have certain conversations. Yeah. Like the older generation, they don't have certain conversations because certain conversations were not had with them too. Because some of these things are the things that they also see as weaknesses. Me being able to tell my mommy that at 13, aside the fact that I already have started my menstrual period, I am having weird sexual urges. And these are not feelings that I have had before.
Did you tell her 14?
About it? No.
Of course you cannot tell that.
I'm saying me being able. It's not possible. Then it's not possible. Like those are some of the things that or they will just tell you that you want to be doing rubbish. Do you understand?
Yeah,
instead of them, and I feel like also it's because they don't have like proper education on it too. I will not totally blame them. Because open-mindedness, it was very, very foreign.
It was foreign, yes.
It was foreign.
Because I realized that it was when they started seeing us like, okay, these children have sense, which was already fine.
These children have sense, and these children also don't have sense. Because
that's when you now start trying to be close to your children, which...
With the fear of losing them.
Yeah, in my opinion, some people get it very late. My parents were lucky enough to not... I think they didn't really push us out there and like, you know what, don't have any conversation with me and don't do this, don't do that. If not for anything, my dad would talk to you until the extent that the tears, you just, in your mind, you just be like, Daddy beats me.
Please, why did I laugh like that?
No. There were times that my dad would talk to you and the talk is like, just beat me like every other people beat somebody. You understand? So
like word of mouth goes deeper than tea.
I believe, because of how I used to feel, and not everybody had this. because of how I used to feel when my dad would have like
What's that damaging?
a conversation with you, and the way he talks to you, he's not like cursing you out.
No,
or-
I'm saying like
but
what's
yeah,
damaging
but there are
and
yeah,
also
but there
uplifting.
are ways that he would tell you something, and you just go back to your room and just say, "Hi, fuck up, Sha." If I had gotten a beat for that particular whatever it is that
Yes, you
my dad
wouldn't
is
have
having,
understood.
yeah, my
You
dad's having
wouldn't
a
hit.
conversation with me for, it would have been like if you go to your room, you say, they finished beating me now.
That's the
What's
end.
the
That's
worst-
the highest that will happen.
what's the worst that can happen? You
It's
know?
the
No, but
beating.
if my mom beats you that time, you cannot say like that because they will beat Chris out of you. And by the next morning, you say, because of that beating that I chopped yesterday, I will never do this thing again. But then again, I have now grown to understand that I have experienced both of them. I've experienced beats and I've experienced talk. Moving forward, I would rather just talk to a child.
I agree. But I also feel that in the guise of parents, like this newer generation of parents compared to the older generation, wanting to not appear or make us seem like we're the weakest generation, they also try to indulge
Yes.
us in certain things so that it will be like, okay, oh, you can do this, but you can do it with me and not do it outside.
Yeah.
And we forget that I said like human beings, all of us, we are very curious. But inside curiosity, there has to be what? Limitation and boundaries.
Yeah.
And we fail to see that we know that this child is curious. I think one of the things that the older generation failed to do was give reasons why and show example. Because my mom or my dad would probably say, don't do this. Don't chook your hand inside fire. You're just telling me not to chook my hand inside fire, but
What
you're
will
not telling
happen?
me that if I chook my hand inside fire, I will suffer burns. And it depends on how hot the fire is, that the degree of the burn will extend. And it is going to be very painful and uncomfortable. And I will not be able to use my hands for days. This example that I just cited, I remember when we were very little, my brother, when we were playing in the compound, because we had a huge compound that had this very huge tree, and there were houses on this side. And they created, like, when they make this their tool that they want to sell, they leave some ashes, because that time if there was no adobo, they
okay.
use stones and stuff. This was way back. They use stones and stuff, so some of the time the ashes will be there. And when the ashes is there, when you see a dry ash, you kind of believe like it's already cold.
Yeah.
But even as it looks cold, mind you, that thing can be very hot. We have been warned quite alright. And some of us, we are older than like my younger brother. Some of us already know, okay, this thing will burn because we have experienced burn before. But for that little boy that was 3 or 4 years old that time, Tomila, they don't chook your hand inside the fire. It's like this thing don't look like it will burn. He shook his hand and his entire fingers got burnt. And it was terrible because they just told him, don't chook your hand, don't put your hand inside where to cut. And in the name of even coolness now, or in the name of let's indulge these children so that it doesn't seem like they are very weak, let us make them feel comfortable and accept some of the things. We forget that these children, the mind that they have, it's not the mind that we have. Because you as an adult, you already have your mind in a structure that you know that, okay, I am not a person that would want to be doing substance. But because you know that your child is already having tendency to want to try this, you say, sit down, let's smoke. So that you're not going to smoke outside. Mommy, daddy, that child will go and smoke outside still. He will still smoke outside, and there's a high possibility that's part of the thing that matters of weakness, because there's a lot of young people in this generation now with serious addiction issues, and this is another thing that we'll consider weak, because they in that time they believe that their mind is strong. And if you check the statistics, the rates back then, like with the older generation, and now is very, very terrible. And in the guise of them even trying to like, let's work with this thing, they will still want to do this. And you're forgetting that this person, you cannot be saying that let's smoke cigarette together to a young adult that is growing up, and you're not forgetting that this person may actually like the feeling of nicotine and not want to leave it.
Yeah, like for example, this island. This place.
Yes.
This island. So the first cultural shock I experienced when I arrived this island was the amount of young people
13, 11
that was
years
smoking. So when I remember after moving into my dormitory, one of the first things I put on my status was like, apparently everybody in my university smokes.
And it's very foreign.
It's very foreign from
where
me,
we are
because
coming.
I'm not even saying people that are smoking are like 17, 18, 19.
They are 10, 11 year olds.
I see people who are in, this their high school, and then they are coming back home from, how old were we in secondary school? They are smoking, they have packs, they're in the
it's confident, sometimes acceptable.
They're in the coffee shop, they're smoking. That I think this is also because of the fact that these parents think that if
I
they are
allow them
comfortable enough to do it in front of them,
they would
it will
abuse
not
it.
escalate.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
You
because-
don't put addictive substance in the hands of children and not expect it to.
So yes, you're trying to be the cool mom. You're trying to be the cool dad. Trying to be the cool generation. You're killing yourself, to be honest.
It's not always the best result. And these kids, some of them, they already know what they want to do. In fact, they would have been doing it. Another thing, I remember this little girl that I knew when I came to the island. She was little. Now she's already an adult. But back then, this girl was already smoking, and she was 11, 12 years old. I think 12
I'm not
13.
surprised.
And her mom already accepted it because she now said that at a point she told her that at a point she even bought her a shisha pot, like so that she will not be doing it outside. But even shisha self is worse than the cigarette that you want to stop the girl from smoking. The girl is already even addicted to nicotine to begin with. She felt like okay, if she made it acceptable, there will be less of it.
Outside.
But it was a lie.
It doesn't work that way.
It was a lie because the girl was already very addicted to it and she did not want to stop.
You see why last we should also be grateful for the kind of parenthood that we had, because I know
it with side eye.
I know why I'm saying it beside that, because I know my mom will watch this video and be jumping in one corner. But the truth is, now that I am older, I don't see how we were brought up as too harsh anymore, because our mates, they do rubbish.
Even when we're not your mates, they do rubbish.
My mates are doing nonsense, and the people who are not even my mates are. So sometimes you look back and you be like, yeah, there was one or two problems with the previous generation, but at some point, yes, there's a good side, there's a bad side, but it shaped us. Right? It shaped us. So when people say that our generation, we don't have norms, values, respect, and things like that, maybe, just maybe, we have it, but we are
very
just trying
little.
we're just trying to not be put in the box where our parents probably were. Because okay, like one of the examples I used to give is that I'm not saying divorce is good. I would never say divorce is good, but I would also say that the previous generation would be in a very toxic marriage, and they will remain there. Yes. And our generation will see that. In fact, from far they say, People say this is not a toxic. I'm out. So yes, how we are is not entirely good, but it's not entirely bad. It's also not entirely good. So it feels like we're kind of in the middle. We don't accept some certain things.
I don't think that we're in the middle because Valerie. Some people are doing things. So
I feel like we're in the middle.
Things are happening.
Yeah, things are happening. But in the context of comparison between the previous generation and this generation, I feel like we are trying to escape trauma. At the same time, we're trying not to do something very out of the ordinary. So we just remain in the middle and we'll be like, you know what, it's safer here. Yeah, it's safer here. Because I tend to do it. Personally, I tend to do that. I tend to say, the problems that the generation faced before, God forbid, will I face it. But at the same time, I'm like, where you the wrong? Go relax first.
Yourself, you will reach there, you go reach the decision you
So I just stay there and I'll be like, you know what, it's fine, let's just be here. So I feel like this generation, that's why I said in the beginning, weakest is not the word. So when you say, are we the weakest generation? I don't think so. Entirely, I don't think
because it means that like we have this lack of strength, maybe mental strength.
Yeah, I just feel like we are evolving.
We're not as serious as the other generation.
Yeah, we're not as serious as the previous generation.
And the fact that this generation also, people stand up for themselves a whole lot. Yeah. And maybe because they don't want to conform to the ways of the past of this the way you should live your life and you should go. They just want to,
Yeah. Well, we also look for a better option for ourselves. Where other generation will be like, this is the norm. Let's leave it at that. We are like, why is this the norm? That's how we are. Our generation is very critical. Like we do a lot of critical thinking. Well, like when you tell the baby don't do that, and these generational children will be like, why?
I just feel like it's rebelling.
In when our parents used to tell us don't do this, we'll be like, okay. But now you tell a child don't do that, they practically look at you in your face and say, why not?
Then tell them why not.
Yeah. So I feel like weakness is not the word for us. I just feel like something else maybe. I feel
like this generation is actually okay where it is, but there are certain things that
it's not okay,
abused. Let me learn. It is okay because there's an evolution.
Yeah, we're coming from someone.
Inexpressiveness. Do you understand? So I feel like there just has to be like a line for those that are always abusing certain things to mask and pretend, and they literally are making us seem weak.
Yeah.
They are making this generation seem weak, and weakness is not it. Weakness is not what we are. And I think that we're also like discovering ourselves.
Yeah, we're still discovering.
I think it's a
whole
journey.
process. I don't know if you leave us, we'll talk about this issue for a very long time.
Wallah.
You guys, we've talked. If there's going to be a part 2, okay, yes, there will be a part 2, but for now, please. I think we're good.
So did we agree that we're not the weakest generation?
For me, we're not the weakest generation. Yes, we get school for it, but that doesn't mean that we're weak, right?
And I think I will agree with Valerie on that. And I think it's okay for the other generation to also like see us as we are weak.
See us, yeah.
Where they are and where we are at, it's not the same place. So thank you for joining us and listening to this episode. We appreciate you. And I would also like to indulge and like beg you guys, like feel comfortable to comment under the video in YouTube. I get a whole lot of DMs.
We get DMs. I get DMs to response and you guys are not commenting.
Feel free. If you feel like someone will come for you, don't worry. It's a safe space. We don't want a fight or toxicity. We just want to be able to like make sure that everybody is self-aware to the type of issues that are happening and can see them for what they are.
Be bold. The truth is that somebody will still come for you. But the way they are coming for us, they will come for you.
Please
just comment.
Feel comfortable to
feel
comment
comfortable.
Your views. They are important to us. We really, really do appreciate these views. And I would like to thank our sponsor, Let's Laundry Magusa. Oh my God, I washed my clothes last week and they really, really did an amazing service because the clothes, not only did they come out clean and folded, and the delivery time was even fast to begin with. Yeah. They also smelled so nice. So guys, please try Let's Laundry Magusa out. And you feel free to like, comment. Please comment. I'm saying that comment again because you guys are always DMing us your views. We want you to comment. And I also would like to thank Jim Shanti Productions because this podcast is brought to you guys.
Yes, and she's rushing us right now.
Yes, so she's telling us like wrap it up, and we're trying to wrap it up real quick. But thank you guys, and we'll see you in another episode.
Bye. Halima, let me talk like Benin people. Ogun won't kill you.